Donald Trump's former chief of staff reckons POTUS does not like losing and is unlikely to concede defeat and probably won't turn up to Joe Biden's inauguration. The sitting president has been tweeting up a storm, abruptly terminating his Secretary of Defence, claiming Wisconsin and Georgia are looking good for him and repeating baseless claims of fraud in the Pennsylvania vote count. Mick Mulvaney is the US special envoy to Northern Ireland, but previously he was Trump's acting White House chief of staff, and he knows exactly what it's like to be fired by the president. I asked Mick Mulvaney what's in Donald Trump's political future.
I think it's mixed in with his business future. Many of us expect the president to go into the television business, to start, for lack of a better word, what we're calling Trump TV, to compete with, say, Fox News. I think the president figured out a long time ago that there's 5 or 6 networks vying over half of our nation that is sort of center-left, and one network vying over everybody is from the center to the right. So I think he's going to do that. I don't know if that takes him out of consideration for 2024. I don't think it does. I think, in fact, he might use that as a way to stay relevant through to 2024 and run again. The president doesn't like losing. He will not like having this, as you put it, hypothetical loss on his resume. And certainly it's very difficult to make the case that you are a great president if you are a one-term president. So I think that the interest that he would have in running in 2024 might be fairly significant. And plus, don't dismiss the fact he would be roughly the same age in 4 years as Joe Biden is now. So it's certainly not out of the question. And one of those wonderful little coffee table discussions right now in the United States of America.
Knowing what you know, though, do you seriously think he'll take another tilt at it?
I think he's certainly capable of doing it. I think he's going to try and figure out where he has more influence and more effect, more power. Is that controlling a media network, a media empire, perhaps 4 years from now? Or is it going back to run for president a second time, keeping in mind that a win 2024 would, in theory, erase a great deal of sort of damage done to that resume if you were to lose this year. So the president doesn't like losing. I think he likes to do other things. He likes to make money, but he really, really doesn't like losing. And I think he likes losing less than he likes making money.
I know you are fond of golf, so I'm assuming you would have played golf with the president at some point.
I have, yes.
So what happens when he does lose?
I never beat him, which is interesting to me. And everybody always asks me if I let him beat me. And I was quick to point out that Donald Trump doesn't hire people that let other people beat them at anything. He doesn't take it very well. I've only seen him get beaten a couple of times. Now, granted, these are with matches with touring pros. We played, I think, at Louis Oosthuizen one time, and Louis shot 62. It's not possible for the president to beat him at that level, but he still didn't like it very much. He is a very, very competitive person. Again, I think that's going to drive whatever he does next.
So, okay, let's stay with the golf example. What happened when he lost? How does that manifest itself?
I made a putt one day to tie him when I was, I think, at the Office of Management and Budget. I was the director at the time. The president and I got to know each other through golf. I was in the cabinet when I was running the budget office, but the president found out I was a single-digit handicap, as he is, so I would go out to play with him from time to time. And I remember one day I made about a 15-footer at the last hole to tie, and I don't think he talked to me for about 2 days after that. So he doesn't. We have a U.S. Has a saying that, show me a good loser and I'll show you a loser. We don't countenance well to losing in this country, and I'm certain that Donald Trump is the top of the list of people who don't.
When you say he doesn't lose often, is that because he cheats?
No, I got asked that question a lot. Thank you for that question. I got asked that question, and I tell a story. I was playing with him one time at Bedminster, and I'm about an 8 handicap, and he's about a 5. And if you play golf, if you don't play golf, I'm sorry, this anecdote is going to be nothing to you. But if you play golf, you might understand a little bit. We're on the 16 tee, and I had him even. And I walked up behind him, I slapped him on the back, and I said, "All right, old man, I got you today. Today's the day I got you. I'm going to beat you today." And he goes, "You don't have a chance." And he finished birdie, par, birdie at the Bedminster Club. By the way, this is the same club that will host the PGA Championship in 2022, I think. It is a real golf course. And I tell people, when you hit it right down the center, 250 yards, as he does every single time when he's playing well, you hit it at 15 feet and make the putt, there's not a lot of opportunity to cheat.
So, given you say he doesn't like losing, and it seems unlikely that he's going to concede anytime soon, who do you think is in his ear in the White House? Who's advising him? Who's in that tight circle right now?
Yeah, but I think what you're seeing right now, and that's the right way to put it, is the tight circle. This is not just the ordinary circle. The ordinary circle would include folks like formerly me in the chief of staff roles, currently Mark Meadows, but I really think that given the intensity of the situation, the gravity of the situation, you've seen that circle sort of tighten down like it was in a crucible, and now it's going to be a very small universe of people. It would be Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, Ivanka, his grown daughter, his two sons, Don Jr. and Eric, his wife, Melania, and then a very, very small group of people who have sort of advised him and been close to him over the course of the 30 years. These would be business people from New York City. Carl Icahn comes to mind, for example. Folks that have known the president since before he was the president and known him well since before he was the president.
When would the last time you have talked to Donald Trump be?
Oh, I talked to the president, I don't know, about a month ago. No, that's not true, because I've been out of the campaign. So I saw him a couple of times out of the campaign. I guess about 3 weeks ago, we were in North Carolina. He did a rally in anticipation of, or in the run-up to the election. I live not too far from there. So he and I got a chance to talk for 10 or 15 minutes beforehand about how the campaign was going. I try not to call him too much, simply because Mark Meadows is a good friend of mine, and I don't think it's institutionally wise for me to sort of continue to keep that constant contact with the president, because people might perceive it as coming at the cost of Mark Meadows, and I wouldn't want to see that. Mark and I are good friends. I talk to Mark more than I talk to the president, which probably makes sense.
Will Donald Trump concede?
Will he concede? Probably not. I could see him giving a speech that says, look, it looks like I lost. I still think I won. I'm going to go quietly and gracefully. But to have the words come out of his mouth that I concede this race to Joe Biden, that's not something that I'd be surprised to see it. Concessions don't mean anything really in our system, other than sort of the appearances of things. They have absolutely zero, and I want to stress that, absolutely zero legal implications. Even if Donald Trump were to or if Joe Biden were to concede tonight, it would not mean anything. He would still be where he is in the polls, excuse me, not the polls, but in the counting and so forth. But to your original question, it would not surprise me to see the president leave peacefully, quietly and gracefully, but would not be making that phone call that the media will be keeping such a close eye on.
So Donald Trump has several weeks to go in the White House. He's already terminated, as he puts it, the Defence Secretary. I mean, what are you expecting him to do in these final few weeks?
I'm not too concerned about any wholesale, widespread craziness in the West Wing. President and Secretary Esper didn't get along for the last several months, completely within the president's jurisdiction and power to make a replacement. By all accounts, I know of the gentleman who just was named the acting secretary. He ran the National Counterterrorism Center, and I crossed paths with him several times. Completely qualified for the job, so I'm not too concerned there that these late changes have any real impact on our ability, say, to defend ourselves. But there may be a couple other folks who leave. The president said, "Look, you know what? I didn't like the person anyway. They never fit in, and I'd hate to finish this with that person, on the team. Better to maybe in the last couple of days promote somebody who he likes and gives a chance to sort of have a higher office for a couple of weeks to sort of get a taste for it, to see if they might be successful in a future Republican administration." So I'm not too concerned about things getting out of hand, but it would not surprise me if additional personnel changes came before now and the end of the year.
What's it like being sacked by Donald Trump? Does it come as a bolt out of the blue?
I don't know. I got asked that question. I said, Mulvaney, what's it like? You got fired by the president. I'm like, I don't know. Let's see. I got the job that I wanted to begin with. The president offered me the position of chief of staff when I went into his office to ask to serve as the special envoy to Northern Ireland. He said, no, 6 months, come in, fix the place here. We'll make you chief of staff. After that, you could do Northern Ireland. So I got the job I wanted. I got to help pick my replacement, and my good friend Mark Meadows took that job, and Mark and I have been very close. People forget we were joint founders of the Freedom Caucus together. Our districts touched each other in North and South Carolina. We both had border districts, so we crossed each path regularly. And I also got lifetime golf privileges at Trump properties around the world. So not a bad deal. So the answer is, I don't know what it's like to be fired by Donald Trump, but if that's getting fired, it's not a bad experience at all.
Okay, so do you reckon Donald Trump's going to turn up at Joe Biden's inauguration?
Yeah, no, that goes along with that the expectations I have regarding a concession speech. It would not surprise me if he would not do that for the same reasons I mentioned about the concession speech. That's just not in his. It's not in his nature to sort of throw his hands up and say, "I tried. Good luck to you." That's just not his nature. I think if anything, he might give a speech and says, "Look, this is it. Everybody says I lost. I still think I won, but I get it. I'll leave. I'm going to wish Biden good luck, but don't count me out in 4 years, because about 6 months from now, you're going to be wishing I was president. He wasn't." That strikes me as the type of speech that Donald Trump might give out the door, and it's not the type of speech you give if you are going to the inauguration.
So you reckon he won't turn up?
The smart money would be that he doesn't go. I know y'all gamble on this more than we do overseas. I wish we could. It'd be a lot more fun. But the smart money would be on him not showing up for the inauguration.
And Mick, is that not just the ultimate proof that he is a sore loser if he can't turn up at the inauguration?
He doesn't like losing. I mean, you call it a sore loser if you want to, but again, I go back to the bromide here. Show me a good loser and I'll show you a loser.
And that was Mick Mulvaney, who is the US Special Envoy to Northern Ireland, and he was the former acting White House Chief of Staff.